Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Alexandria. I am a registered nurse and a freelance health content writer. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about budgeting. This is specifically for those of you who have started or are thinking about starting a freelance health content writing business. And this is really important because in the beginning, for me, when I started my business in 2022, I didn't have a ton of money set aside, and hindsight is always 2020. So I'm going to try to share some of my experiences with you guys in hopes that you learn from my mistakes and from my really hard lessons and don't have to go through some of the things that I went through. So, freelance writing, to start off, you don't need, tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars and immaculate credit in order to start a freelance health content writing business, right? Because you don't have a brick and mortar. You don't need one, at least. You may not have a ton of money that you're putting into marketing yourself and your services. You may not have to pay for physical products all the time. There's a lot of things that you don't necessarily have to pay for with a freelance health content writing business. So the startup costs are low, but if I would have done this, if I had to do things differently, I wish I would have set aside at least about $5,000. And this is just because startup fees in the beginning, when you're not making any money and you're not even sure how you're going to make the money, they can kind of kill your business before you even get off the ground. And with freelance writing, there are a lot of ebbs and flows, and a lot of that has to do with your network. Your net worth is always as or only as strong as your network. And if you don't have a lot of people in your network who are editors and potential clients, business owners who can give you work, it makes things really difficult to keep the money consistently flowing in, especially in those beginning months or even that first year while you're getting your feet wet in freelance writing and trying to figure out where the freelance writers are and where the potential clients are. All of that is time costing and costing you money. So I want to share with you guys some things that I wish I would have done a little bit differently and things to consider when you are budgeting. So let's say that you get your first check, you've set up your business, you get your first check, woohoo, you got your first client, you've gotten your writing assignment, you submitted your assignment, now you got paid. Here are some things that I think you should be considering with that paycheck. The first thing is to make sure that you are paying your taxes. A good rule of thumb is to set aside about 25 to 30% of your income towards taxes, but this will vary obviously by the state that you work in and by how much money you're actually bringing in. So I highly recommend that you communicate regularly with an accountant to get a better idea of exactly how much money you should be setting aside with each of those checks. Because remember, 9 times out of 10, out at the end of the year, you'll get a 1099. So you will be responsible for all of the money that you gained over the year. You'll be responsible for paying the taxes on that. And some people, have been in business forever, so they set up quarterly taxes, or maybe they pay every month, whatever the case may be. You definitely need to make sure that you set aside some of that money for taxes because the IRS will be coming for you. The next thing is to obviously pay yourself. You can do this through things like an owner's draw if you have a business checking account, or if you decide that you want to set up payroll. It's really not necessary if you are a business of one, but if you decide to have multiple people working in the business, you may want to decide to put yourself on the payroll. Again, that's something I would speak with an accountant about to be sure what the best avenue might be for you and how your business is set up. And obviously how much you pay yourself really just kind of depends on you, but you also want to be really mindful of where you're thinking of taking your business next. So if you know that you want to expand on your business, or let's say that you've got a lot of work that's coming in, you've got people beating down your door asking you to write more assignments and get involved with work that they have going on. You might decide that you want to expand your business and have other writers come work for you. So you may need to set aside some money to get things like that started. Maybe you decide that you want a virtual assistant who's going to do all of the marketing for you. It's going to do all the social media posts, all the responses to messages. You'll want to set money aside for that while you're looking into the cost of having someone physically on your payroll or having a virtual assistant that is also someone that you would have to be paying out regularly. Okay, the next thing is to pay the business. Even a freelance writing business, even if you don't have a brick and mortar, you're still going to have monthly fees. You're going to have maybe quarterly fees. I know, for example, I like to watch my business credits. So there are quarterly fees that I'll pay with companies like Nav. For monthly fees, I've got Adobe subscriptions, or actually that's annual fees, but still I keep a running spreadsheet of all of the expenses that my business will pay out. And I do this in part because I want to keep track of how much money is going out on these expenses that I'm not going to be able to make money on. But I also want to be sure that I'm still using the services that I once thought I would absolutely need for my business. I've definitely cut off services, just random services for the freelance writing business, because I realized that for me and my business and where I intend for it to go, I just don't need every single thing that I've signed up for, and that's okay. But you want to be prepared for that and be ready to handle those costs as they come. I also recommend that you have 2 people on your team and you figure out how you're going to pay them. The first is a business attorney and the second is a tax accountant. Or an accountant in general. I say this because unless you have a background in all the legal aspects of a business in your city, in your state, in your county, and unless you are an accountant who knows everything about taxes and tax law, you really need somebody who is in those areas and can help you keep your business financially structured appropriately, and structured in a way that's of benefit for you. And also you want somebody on your team who's going to help you with the tax aspect of it, because tax season is a struggle for some of us, y'all. Like, I used to love tax season because I always used to get money back. Nowadays, these last couple of years, I've been owing. So and it's always because there's been an influx or an ebb and flow in my annual salary as I continue to move and do different things with my day job as a nurse scientist. So sometimes the structure of taxes is set up differently and I have to adjust. So highly recommend that you spend time or money, both really, on having a business attorney and a tax accountant on your payroll, and at least someone that you can speak to regularly, even if it's, just through some type of business service that you utilize for a small monthly fee or a small annual fee. Those are fees that I highly recommend that you pay attention to for your business. That is all I have for this video. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to this channel and tell me how I'm doing.